Hi, welcome to Passion for Plants. My name is Hannah, and in this video we're talking about my Fuji apple tree. I thinned this in June, and it is now September 5th. It's Labor Day, and most of these are pretty ripe and ready to go. So I wanted to show you guys how I thinned it out, now the picking process of when it is ripe, and then we did a taste test at the end too, so I'll show you that. So we'll just go back to June and I'll show you how I thin these out and how I'm about to pick these off now. Today is June 26th. I'm going to be thinning my apple tree. You can see some of these branches here are drooping because the fruit is so heavy. So I'm going to thin these out a little bit. I've already taken one off here just to kind of test. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So this is a good example. This branch is so heavy that it could break, could snap because the fruit is weighing it down so much. So definitely want to prune off some of these. So I will probably just take, there's a lot on here. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fruits on this one branch. So definitely got to thin this out because even when they do grow, they're not gonna have enough space to get as big as they want. So I'll probably thin this down to 2. I'll start with this little one right here. Just pull it off. I'm looking to see which one I want to keep. I'm probably going to keep this one back here and maybe one of these from the underside. Oh, one fell off already. Okay, we have thinned it down to 2 here, and they've got just about enough room to get as big as they're gonna get. Here's another bunch of fruit. So I'll take off this leaf because that doesn't look very good, but this is an example of fruit that you definitely want to remove because that's not gonna ripen and look good. So we'll get those off. I'm probably gonna have to take this one off just to give the other one room to grow. So now we have one that's gonna be very large and tasty. Here's some more that we're gonna wanna pick off. So if you're in this predicament where you have 3 fairly good ones, just try to see if there's any insect damage. Doesn't look like there's much on any of these, so we'll leave this big one down here and we'll take this one off. Now in this one, I've left 2 versus this other one where I had 2, but now I trimmed it or thinned it down to 1. So this will be interesting to see how just having 1 does compared to 2 here. We'll see if it's worth it trimming it down to 1 or leaving it as 2. Just for the heck of it, I'm gonna leave these 4 apples on here and not thin this down, and we'll see how these turn out without any thinning, if they're smaller or what happens, just so we can test it out. I've pruned off about 80 fruits here, which is hard to do, but this means that I'll have bigger, sweeter fruits. So I'll check back in a few months to see how it did. It is now September 5th. And I'm going to show you guys an update of the apple tree since they're getting pretty close to being ripe. This one here is the first one that I had thinned out. I thinned it out to 2, and as I was just looking at this, one of them fell off when I was looking. So here's this little baby one. That looks pretty good. Might not be super ripe. We'll test though. Here is the other one. This one got to a decent size. I'm not super sure if these need to change more color. I think this is a Fuji apple, so I think it's got to change a little bit more. So I'm going to leave this one on here for now. Here is the other apple that I had narrowed down from a grouping down to 1 to see how this would do. This one looks a little bit more ripe, but I think I'm gonna leave this on here again, let it ripen a little bit more till it turns a little bit more pink reddish. But this one's grown pretty darn well. You can see the top side is darker than the bottom side, but overall it's gotten to a decent size. I have a few bigger ones on here, so let's check those out. Here is the area where I trimmed it down or thinned it down to 2 to see how that would do compared to the 1 down here. If leaving just 1 would give it more space. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I think the 2 actually did a little bit better because these are bigger. They're a little bit riper, so I think we might be able to take off one of these and check and see how it looks. But it could be the positioning on the tree because this one gets more sunlight. It's on top of the tree where this is, where is it? This one is underneath, doesn't get as much. So that could be part of it. But I'm gonna take this one off over here. Ooh, that looks good. Here is the area where I left the 4 on here, and we've just got 1 lone survivor. The other one had some kind of insect damage. Another one, like a rat or something, ate it, so it was getting all gross. I don't know what happened to the other one, but anyways, we're left with this one here, which I think could get a little bit riper, so I'll leave this on, but doesn't really answer the question if maybe the other one suffered because there was 4, I'm not sure. But so far, thinning down to 1 isn't the best, maybe 2, but let's keep looking. Here's a set of 2 that I thinned that look great back there. Here's 1, a set of 1, not a set, a single. Here's another 1. Here's 2. So I'm thinking that 2 is a good number. Here's another 2. So I think 2 is probably the good number for a Fuji tree because you have 1 more fruit instead of having to narrow it down to 1. You have 2 fruit here and it gives them enough space. So from what I'm seeing with my tree, 2 is the number to use. I've come inside so I can cut this and take a look and see if these are indeed ripe. So we'll cut these. Supposedly the seeds should be brown if it's ripe. Wow, if there's any seeds. Okay, so I'd say it's ripe. We got a brown seed in there. Let me cut this and we'll give it a taste test. I choked on the juice because it's so juicy that I choked on it. Okay, that's good. It is indeed ripe, very sweet, hardly any tang or acidity. That's really good. I've never had a homegrown apple. I've only had them from the grocery store, so I've been waiting for this. Well, we had one last year, but it was like 1 I think we had, so now we're gonna have a lot. And yeah, so we're waiting until it gets to kind of this color. Fuji apples, you know, aren't usually this color all around. So if you have a little bit of a lighter side like this, I think you're good to go. But as long as you get some of this red color and it looks pretty ripe, then you're good. Let's check this one. This is the one that just fell off on its own and it's pretty green all around. The seed is kind of brown. Well, I'll just take a bite. Still good. Still really good. It's a little bit firmer, not as easy to bite into. That's the only really difference, but it tastes about the same. So if it is green, it might also be ripe here, but as long as it comes off the tree easily, I think that that's the best guess. But this is delicious. If you are thinking about getting a Fuji tree and it's in your area, I would definitely recommend. And so thinning it down to 2 instead of 1 or leaving 4, I think 2 is the magic number. That's what worked well on my tree. And I thinned it out in June and it's now September 5th. and they're ripe. So if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching.